Right to your top headlines this evening. These stories are real, new now. A new ordinance being discussed by Springfield City Council could help address nuisance properties around town. Our Madison Heaver will join us live from a snowy City Council coming up.
Some Branson residents may be forced to leave their apartments after their complex was deemed too dangerous to live in. The future of that property coming up.
And the state of Missouri has not yet allocated funds to expand Medicaid in the upcoming budget, but representatives and organizations around the state are pushing for an expansion. Ozarks Fox News at 9 starts right now.
Real, new, now. This is Ozarks Fox News at 9.
Good evening. We are glad you could join us for Ozarks Fox News at 9 tonight. I'm Jennifer Abreu.
And I'm John Adams. The city of Springfield has been working to diminish nuisance properties around town, and tonight was no different. Council
members tonight discussing two bills that could help better enforce the rules for those chronic nuisance properties. Our Madison Heaver is live outside City Hall. The first reading of those bills was tonight. Madison, what does this mean for nuisance properties?
Yeah, Jen, it's no secret that nuisance properties are really becoming a problem here in Springfield, and the goal for the city is actually to prevent properties from becoming nuisance properties in the first place. Now, they're doing that by better defining what classifies a property as a nuisance and making rules property owners must follow. For example, requiring property owners to remove trash buildup from their property after 2 weeks. Now, the city does not allow what it calls openings in a building. Openings can mean the building, residential or non-residential, would be exposed to the elements or it invites trespassers, whether it be through an open door, window, wall, or roof. And if these bills pass, also a building's foundation. Now, these bills had many supporters. Here's what Springfield resident Rusty Worley had to say.
This bill is an important next step. It's not the first step, and hopefully it won't be the last step, but we consider it the next step in addressing chronic nuisance properties. That's been a priority for us for many years, and we feel like this moves us forward. There are no silver bullets, and it will take a series of carrots and sticks to help us address these issues that are deeply rooted in our community.
Now, these bills are expected to have another public hearing and be voted on at the next City Council meeting in 2 weeks, along with another bill Council heard tonight that would actually allow cosmetology services to be called at-home businesses. In Springfield, Madison Heaver, Ozarks First.
All right, Madison, thank you. Well, making local news tonight, a longtime public servant for the city of Springfield was honored this evening. Springfield Mayor Ken McClure handed Dr. Robert Spence the keys to the city in a ceremony earlier tonight. Spence formerly served as a chancellor at Evangel University. Now, he also served on a number of boards during his time with the city as well. Spence says what he will remember from his years of service is the community that Springfield brings, adding that he is grateful for all of the opportunities the city gave him throughout his career.
To have this opportunity to express my appreciation to them for what opportunities they gave me. It has indeed been a very humbling experience.
Mayor McClure says Spence's impact can be seen in a variety of places, like the transformation of the Evangel campus and even the pipeline to Stockton Lake, which provides water here to Springfield.
Moving around the Ozarks, tenants at some apartments in Branson might soon be forced to leave after their building was deemed too dangerous to live in. The city issued an order of abatement on January 13th, and before that, the owner was given nearly a year to fix municipal code violations. We spoke with the Director of Planning and Development for Branson. He says he believes people are still living in those apartments, and that will be considered trespassing come Saturday. The owner will lose some rights to the property, but there are a couple of options moving forward.
This dangerous building determination becomes final on February 15th. At that point, the city has a choice to either step in and demolish the property if that's the decision that's made by the city, or the property owner still has the ability through the building permit process to correct the outstanding issues as well.
Branson has gone through this dangerous building process about a dozen times in the last decade.
Well, taking a look at political coverage tonight, expanding Medicaid in the state of Missouri will not be part of the budget presentation tomorrow when Missouri Medicaid Director Todd Richardson presents his budget to the state's House Budget Committee. A Medicaid expansion would require lawmakers to make changes to the budget, so right now it's off the table for the next year. Our Francis Lynn tells us how representatives and organizations around the state are pushing for an expansion in the next election.
The reason we're in the good shape we are is because we're being accountable and fiscally responsible for how we spend money. I don't think expanding government programs is always the answer.
Governor Parson made it clear in his State of the State speech last month that Medicaid expansion is not a priority.
Republicans have made it very apparent that here in Jefferson City, they are not going to pass expansion through legislation. And that's why we're seeing the citizens themselves going to initiative petition to get to a vote of the people to try to get it done.
Healthcare for Missouri and the Missouri Budget Project both support Medicaid expansion.
Right now, these hardworking Missourians are having to choose between putting food on the table or being able to see a doctor. And that's really what the choice is about.
Right now, the state pays 35% of Medicaid costs. Under expansion, that's reduced to 10% of the total costs, and many of the folks who are currently eligible for Medicaid would move into the expansion population, so we would actually reduce our state costs.
But House Speaker Elijah Harr and House Budget Committee Chairman Cody Smith oppose the Medicaid expansion. They say it would take money from education. Representative Quaid disagrees.
And they keep going back to the fact that it's just going to cost a whole bunch of money. But I will say that there are multiple studies that have now confirmed that expanding Medicaid will actually save the state money.
3 Midwest states that are fairly conservative, how they've actually used Medicaid expansion to free up general revenue so they can use that on other priorities like education.
Francis Lynn, Ozarks First.
Well, a lot has been made of driver's license laws in Missouri, and now one lawmaker is looking to add another option when it comes to your ID, a digital option. The traditional plastic ID would still be issued to everyone, but under the proposed legislation, you could pay an additional $50 to have it on your phone as well. State Representative Nate Tate is behind the bill. He says these days people are more likely to forget their wallet than their phone, and adding digital IDs would have security built in.
The way it would work is you would actually download an app from your app store, and it's a secured app, and you'd have to put in a fingerprint or a facial scan or a PIN number or something to that effect, and then the app would open up and then you'd be able to see the ID.
Critics of the bill see possible issues with the cost to implement the system. As far as real ID compliance, Representative Tate believes this option would satisfy those requirements.
Well, more local news for you tonight. We continue our Hidden History series where we take a look at local African Americans and their impact here in the Ozarks. Now this week we're highlighting the Millie Project. It's a performing arts piece that tells the story of Millie Sawyers, an enslaved woman who won her freedom all the way back in 1836. However, according to Greene County court records, Sawyer was viciously beaten shortly after. For the first time ever, Sawyer's life story is being told in its entirety through a performance that is touring across Missouri. Actors performed the story at the Galois Theater here in Springfield over the weekend. The event brought to light what some call a forgotten piece of local history. John Herbert is an actor who helped to bring Sawyer's story to life at the Galois.
Telling the story of the marginalized is the most important thing that we can do, especially if that story is part of my story. I'm a part of a community of marginalized people whose stories are not being told. This is a story about Black people in my community.
You can visit our website at ozarksfirst.com to learn more about the Millie Project. Just type Millie Project in the search bar at the top of the page.
Nixa High School is asking you to keep your eyes open for prom dresses. Several local organizations are teaming up to make sure every girl in the area feels beautiful at prom. Nixa High School senior Halen McNally is organizing a prom dress drive. She and her partners have collected as many as 100 dresses so far. If you want to donate dresses, bags, or shoes, you can do so at Avant Garden in Ozark or at Nixa High School.
Well, a few snow showers falling across the Ozarks tonight, Jamie.
Yeah, actually very pretty outside right now. For the last half an hour, we've been getting some snow here in Springfield, and it's enough now where we do have at least a dusting on the ground, maybe going on 1/4 of an inch, and it looks like that snow is going to continue a little bit longer. We'll take a look at this event tonight and maybe a little more snow around the middle of the week. That's in your forecast next.
You're watching Ozarks Fox News at 9 with John Adams, Jennifer Abreu, and weather with Chief Meteorologist